Welcome to Let's Talk here on Houston City Beat. I'm Mike Acosta. Today I am happy to welcome in blues artist and musician Brint Anderson. Brint, welcome to Let's Talk.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Good afternoon.
You're living in Houston, but you are originally from New Orleans, correct?
Well, I was born and raised in Natchez, Mississippi, also on the river. And I've been a part of the New Orleans music scene for 33 years.
You know, I hear, so what I hear is that the music, if you're going to describe blues music in your style, is Delta blues infused with a New Orleans funk. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I was very blessed to play with a lot of the legendary guys in New Orleans while I was there. Mainly, I was in George Porter Jr.'s running partners. George, the original bassist for the Meters, and that was for 28 years I was with Porter. And we still get together every now and then. In fact, I'm going back to New Orleans on June 6th to do a couple of gigs before I do a Mississippi homecoming tour.
So what's been your favorite place to record out there? Like, what's your favorite type of setting when you're performing?
I love playing for live audiences, first of all.
Yeah.
And I've played at all the big clubs in New Orleans. Tipitina's, the Maple Leaf Bar is basically my home when I go back there, and they even put a brick with my name on it in the patio. There's all kinds
That's
of
awesome.
bricks of the musicians and people that have contributed and all that stuff. So those are my favorite two places to play in New Orleans. But I've played all over the city. I've done a multitude of various kinds of gigs besides club gigs. I played at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival for years, and other festivals around the region. And I have done a lot of weddings and Mardi Gras parties too. So.
Yeah. So let's go back to when you were a kid, and what influenced you? What the blues influence? What got you into? Does music run in your family as well?
Well, yes, my mother was involved with music a bit. She never did it professionally. My father passed away when I was only 4, but he also played an instrument. But my mother was a accomplished pianist and a great ballerina and dancer. So that's kind of in my blood. But my mother and her 2 sisters, my 2 aunts, were all involved with piano playing and things like that.
So who did you grow up listening to? When you decided to pick up any type of instrument, a guitar, you wanted to start playing music. What was your influence outside of the family?
When I was, very young, I would say 8 or 9 years old, that's when the Beatles came out. So of course I saw what was happening for them, and I went, I want to be a part of that, girls screaming for me. But
that never is terrible, right?
No, it doesn't hurt. But so in Natchez, Mississippi, there was a gentleman named Papa George Lightfoot that I met when I was 13, and he was a legendary blues musician himself. So he influenced me right off the bat. Then I started studying all of the blues players out of Mississippi. And there's a great book called The Story of the Blues by Paul Oliver. And so I thoroughly studied that and learned who was who back then. And started collecting recordings and just learning off the recordings and getting better at my guitar playing. And then I was influenced by the great slide players like Elmore James. And of course, Robert Johnson was an influence.
Yeah.
And then I was influenced by Dwayne Allman of the Allman Brothers and Lowell George of Little Feat, both fantastic slide guitarists. And
yeah,
a lot of their licks show up in my playing too.
How when you're playing your music, you know, what is the type of feeling that you have that comes through you as you're playing for the live audience to really connect there?
Well, it comes deep from in my soul, first of all, but when I experience my crowds really rejoicing from the kind of music that I'm laying on them. That's what moves me the most. And I play a lot of music that's just joyous. I not too much. I do play blues, but it's not sad stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's happy stuff.
It's very soulful. The blues to me, you know, there's different elements of blues. There, you know, the blues is it can be based in sadness or whatever. I mean, it's just like any type of genre. You know, blues was one of the forming uh, forces behind rock and rock and roll can be happy. It can be sad. You know, all of that. They all have different sides to them. And
Right,
it's but I do know that rhythm and blues they have a very strong soulful part that comes out. You know, when the audience is watching a performer perform, you're really seeing something that I think sometimes you don't see with other things, even with rock and roll. You really feel a connection to that person. There's something really speaking to you in a blues type of song, no matter if it is sad or if it is happy. It just once it gets going, it really catches you. Internally, it does, at least for me.
yeah. Well, a couple of people that inspired me were Albert King,
Hmm.
who was doing a live recording and said he was going to play a blues song for everybody. He said, everybody gets the blues. Even the little baby in the crib has got the blues, you know.
Yeah,
And and then there was Muddy Waters' statement that the blues had a baby and they named it rock and roll.
yeah, yeah. So you moved to Texas. You wound up in Texas, and you were living in Austin. And what time period was that in the 1980s?
Yeah, I moved there in 1981. I had a couple of dear friends I grew up with in Natchez, and they were already there as part of the music scene. They said, "Man, come on down here. It's really happening," and it was. Those
Yeah.
early days in Austin were just awesome, phenomenal times.
So I guess it goes without saying you had a chance. You performed at Antone's and at all the
Yes.
places in Austin, and yeah, I know that you played with people like the Fabulous Thunderbirds and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and of course Jimmy Vaughan, who is Stevie Ray's brother, with the Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Yep.
You know, as what was that like? You know, just coming through that music scene at that
Well,
time
it was
period.
just gratifying to be accepted into their scene. I had a regular Tuesday night for a long time at Antone's with my band called Coupe de Ville back then.
Hmm.
And we did a lot of New Orleans rhythm and blues that not too many bands in Austin were doing. So that kind of gave us a little distinction there, and it was all cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've sat in with many, many blues players at Antone's, including Hubert Sumlin, the guitarist from Howlin Wolf's band. He was living there at the time, and did shows with Albert King there. And in fact, in Houston at Rockefellers, uh, my band and I played a birthday party for Albert King, which was
Oh, nice.
just off the chain. And we're playing along, and all of a sudden, Elvin Bishop springs on stage, and because we were playing Big Legged Woman by Freddie King, and he wanted to be a part of that. And Billy Gibbons was there that night. He gave Albert a brand new Flying V guitar with his name inlaid in the fretboard, and the birthday cake was shaped like a flying V. So it was quite a night.
That's awesome. You know, I kind of go through and I talk to with a lot of people from different industries, whether it is in art or it's something even like in professional sports or whatever it is. And one of the common
Yes.
denominators that I find is that people, one of the things that really transcends, them do whatever they do the best are the great people that they come into contact with. Who are some of the greatest people that you have enjoyed working with over the years? Who are some of the ones that really stand out to you that left a very special mark with you?
It's a pretty vast list, but I'll keep it
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
When I was in New Orleans, I just got there at the right time. I was in the right place at the right time. But I played with, of course, George Porter Jr., which opened up opportunities to play with a lot of the legends. Many of them are no longer with us, but I played with Dr. John, who we first met when we were playing at Rockefeller's, and he was brought in. He was traveling by himself, and the club owner said, "I want you to meet your band," and he goes, "My band?" And so he was a little skeptical at first, but he came in. We did an afternoon. We were 26 of his songs, and he said, "Okay, you boys did your homework, you know." So I loved working with Mac. I call him Mac Ravnack, but
Yeah.
Dr. John is a major influence in my life, as well as we did shows with the Neville Brothers. We did open a multitude of shows at Rockefeller's, and
Yeah.
we also played with. Well, while I was in New Orleans, here's another list of people I played with. I was fortunate to hook up with Earl King, who is basically my hero as far as songwriting, New Orleans true rhythm and blues.
Mm-hmm.
And I played with, I hate to be name dropping, but you know, got to
No,
do
do
it.
it. Name drop. You know what? When you have a career like you do, you're doing something like you do. You're going to come into contact with a lot of great people, and I don't see anything. It's not name dropping. I mean, this is part of your experience. This is part of your story.
Yeah.
So name drop away,
Well,
however you want to
it
call
is
it.
the truth.
Yeah, it is.
Now,
You know, it's part of the story.
we, okay, so George Porter Jr., Earl King, Snooks Eaglin, one of the greatest guitarists to ever come out of New Orleans, was a major influence. And Porter used to play bass behind him. Available, I would play bass with Snooks, and that was like going to master class right there.
Yeah.
When I first played with Snooks, I made the mistake of asking him, "What key is this in?" He said, "You'll hear it." There was never any rehearsal. It was like on the job training, man.
Yeah.
But it was great training. You know, it made me a
Yeah.
better player. You know, and I played with the some of the greats. Man, well,
It's just a
Alan
lot.
Toussaint, played with Alan, um,
Yeah.
and a lot of the classic guys like Frogman Henry, Al Carnival Time Johnson, who is still alive, thank goodness. Um, who else, man? The list goes on.
Yeah, it could go on and on. There's an endless amount of stories. Altogether, you have about 55 years of performing in as a
Yeah,
musician and having all this. And now you're working. You're here. You're living in Houston, and you are working on a special project now. Tell me a little bit about that.
yeah. Well, first of all, I'm going to take. I have 5 CDs under my belt, and I'm going to
Hmm.
take what I consider the best of those CDs and have them remastered and release them as a
Hmm.
best of Brent. That's my first project. The next is I'm currently writing fresh material that I want to record and release, and that's always fun. And
Yeah.
I've been re-inspired lately. I didn't write for quite a while because I don't know why, just maybe writer's block or something. But it's all flowing again, so I got to get it while I can get it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so. Tell me a little bit about the there's an archival project that you're working on, right? Like a
Yes,
to preserve all of this work.
yeah, I want to not only preserve my own work, but everything that I collaborated, all the artists I collaborated with in New Orleans while I was there.
Yeah,
Um, it's a ton of material. You know, I did
yeah, I bet
I
it
think
is.
6 or 7 recordings with Porter. I did other things with Dr. John, and there's so many like YouTube videos and things like that that I want to archive and save.
Yeah. And that way it could be there forever for others to watch, to learn from, to
Yeah,
enjoy, to be inspired, you know, in
that's
this
the word I
digital
was
type
looking
of
for. I
archive.
want it to be an inspiration for younger players, and there's a lot of good younger players coming up that I'm impressed with. You know,
Yeah.
they're they're not stuck on whatever now. They're learning from what happened in the past, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think in with music, you really no matter if you do have new music styles, because like you if you go back into the 50s when rock came around and you know all of that came together and even that look to the past, you know, with the blues, gospel, you know, the country sounds that all came together as one. All of those were inspired by other generations of music, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about music is that it's really timeless in a way.
It
It's
is.
not something. I mean, you if you're looking at it from a sales perspective, and you know, record companies and what have you, and they go, all right, well, that's the older music, but I think as a listener, as somebody who really appreciates music and you don't really you always have your favorites, you know, you always have what you love to listen to, the artists that you get behind, the people that you connect with, and it's just evergreen, you know, music is evergreen. So I think that this project that you're looking to put together to archive this, I think it's a great project for you to do. It's great for the blues. It's great for, like you say, all of the younger artists and people that you can inspire, because that's one of the other things too. You never know who exactly you're going to inspire along the way. You know, if you're doing your thing, you're doing it in a very fantastic, honest, you know, high integrity way. You know, it's your creation, and you do that, and you build it, and now it's something that you can also share with people as you continue to create more. So I think it's a really good project. How can people find you online? Where are you on social media? You have a website or anything?
Well, of course, I have Facebook and Instagram that
Hmm.
I post everything that all of my live gigs and anything else that's happening that I feel is important. And when I release some new material, I'll be putting that out there too. I
Nice.
also put some of the tracks that I've already recorded in the past. I put them up. Um,
Very nice.
yeah,
Well,
and
that's good because that's the way everybody, you know, they get to see your performances. Do you have any upcoming performances in Houston that people can come out and see you?
tomorrow night I'm at a club. My band and I are playing for the first time. It's called the Keg Ice House, and it is in Northwest Houston, kind of the Cypress area on Jones Road.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
next to
Okay.
Connie's Frozen Custard, if you know where that is. But
I know
yeah,
exactly. I have four kids that grew up going to Connie's Custard. So I know the place right there next to it. So
yeah,
that's
that place
amazing. So
stays
people can go
packed,
see you
man.
perform. Yeah, I
Um,
know.
so we're going to start at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, and there's no cover charge.
Wow. Well, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
the club owner is going to take care of us out of his pocket. So we need to draw a crowd in there and make it worthwhile for him. He's just kind of new to this and experimenting with us, and we want to make a good showing and make it
Yeah.
a happening place to visit.
Yeah. So give that club name one more time tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's called the Keg Ice House,
Keg
and
Ice
it's
House right there on Jones Road.
on Jones Road.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, good. You begin at 8 o'clock p.m. tomorrow night. That'll be May 24th. Well, Brent, I
Yeah.
really appreciate you stopping by and joining us today here on Let's Talk here on Houston City Beat. I wish you a great show tomorrow night, a great weekend, and much success with all the projects, all the new music, all the archiving, and everything else. And you're doing a great thing for blues and keeping it going into the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike, and go Astros, because I know you're involved with them too.
Yeah, I have a little history with them. Thanks, Brent.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Hope
All right. Thank you once again. Bye-bye.